guys, we are talking about Instagram, one of my favorite topics.
I am just starting to get into it. I'm trying to decide if I want to actually just start a whole new account because mine is pretty flat and we're learning some new things. And there's, the program that you and I are both in have actually just launched a separate little IG accelerator course, which is awesome. So we thought, hey, why not discuss IG since also with the TikTok, the potentiality of the TikTok ban, these things might become very important for us marketers.
Yes. Yeah, I don't really utilize TikTok a whole lot anyway, so the ban really doesn't affect me, but I love Instagram. You were talking about a dead account. So recently there was a statement kind of thing that came out from some of the hardcore Instagram creators I follow that said, if you have an account that's full of bots or kind of stagnant, you can restart it or just start posting as if you restarted, and eventually it will go ahead and replace it because you at least have the history of the older account working in your favor. They were saying going through and like deleting the bot accounts and whatnot actually is more harm than good. If you want to go through and delete the bots, then you're better off to start a new one. But they said just keep posting, just keep doing what you're doing, and eventually the real followers will kick the bots out anyway.
Well, that's nice. I like that idea because I really don't want to restart. I didn't really accept a lot of bots in the first place. So it just was one of those things where I was like, do I want to redo this again? Because there's some excellent strategies. And I honestly felt like if I start putting those into place, then they should do the work, right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely, yes. So let's get into it. So one thing that I do want to warn everybody against, because we see it all the time, is do not fall for the buy followers scam, okay? The followers you buy are not going to be good. They're not going to be engaging. They're going to hurt you more than anything. So regardless of how many followers you want and what your goal is and all that stuff, do not fall for the buying the followers scam. It will hurt you.
Well, yeah, because they're not going to be your people, number one.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And it was funny. I just saw on Threads somebody talking about, so this video has something like 14,000 likes or 40,000 likes, but only like 400 views. And it's because they weren't actually viewing it. They were just buying likes. So they were just literally coming in and clicking like. So yeah, you had 40,000 people come in and like it, but no one actually stayed to watch the video.
Yeah, which I believe also hurts you. I know it hurt you on TikTok if people just scrolled like. I think it hurts you on Instagram as well.
Makes sense though, right? Yeah. You're trying to screw the algorithms. You're trying to buck the system, and that is not going to help you in any way, shape, or form. So
exactly. So let's talk about first thing I want to talk about is optimizing your profile. So we've talked about this before a little bit, but optimizing your profile is so important when it comes to Instagram, because so often we want to make it super complicated and be really creative and throw a bunch of emojis in there and all this other stuff. But it's really, really simple. You want a clear profile picture that shows your face because you want people to know you're a real person, you're a real account.
Yeah.
Your username should reflect either who you are as a person, or especially if you're a business, who you are in business, right? So you see it all the time where it's like Diana, the affiliate mom, or something like that. That's perfect. The username is Diana, the affiliate. So you want your name to be very, very clear. Yes, you want to have keywords in your name, but do not put hashtags. Do not fall for that kind of thing.
No.
Not going to help you.
No hashtags. Keywords are not the same as hashtags, right?
Yes.
So if your niche is, I don't know, Rike, or it's dogs, that's your keyword. But don't hashtag that crap. That's not necessary.
Yes. And then bio. Bio is so important. What problem do you solve? Who do you serve? What were your pain points that you overcame that you can help somebody overcome? Stuff like that. So the question you need to be asking yourself when you're writing your bio is not, what do I want to tell people about me? It's, what does my ideal client need? Or what pain points did I get over that I want to help people get over? Right.
And you're going to have to, when you first write that out, it's just like an elevator pitch. It's going to be huge, right? Because you're going to ramble on and ramble on and ramble on. And now your goal is to bring that down and bring that down and bring that down as much as you can so that it's a sentence and it's a short sentence as quickly as you can. That's going to take some practice and some refining, and that's okay. But just recognize that you can't have it be really big because you don't have the space to do it to begin with. Yeah. So just keep refining until it's a very short sentence. This is the problem I solve. This is who I serve. This is how I do it.
Perfect. And then links. So Instagram now allows you to put multiple links, which on the one hand is great. On the other hand, if you are promoting, let's say, a travel program, and you're also promoting an Instagram cheat code program, and you're also promoting a cooking at home program, it's going to get very confusing very fast if you throw all those links in your on your bio, the same way it would if you threw all those links on Facebook. So while you have the ability to put multiple links, I would say be very careful, because if it says, the link and then plus 10 more, the likeliness of someone clicking on it is really slim, because they're going to go, holy cow, that's a lot, and I don't want to deal with it, right? Our brains want very small pieces of information. So I would say one link, maybe link to your Facebook profile if they jive together, if the message is the same. But definitely, don't fall down the trap of putting all your links. Figure out what your main core offer is that helps whoever you're trying to help, and put that one single link in.
And make sure that your call to action that you're going to have in your I do this and I serve these people, and that whole pain solution thing, make sure that CTA is directly relatable to your link. Because if you have, I'm this and I do that, but then your link is, I don't know, check out my profile, it's probably not going to be what you need, right? You want it to be very clear and make sense, so that when they do go to your bio, it makes sense. Because people who are looking to you to help solve whatever problem it is that they've come to your profile for, they saw some information, they saw some posts, and they're like, who is this person? They want to be able to get the gist of everything in one place and not get confused at all. And if they do feel confused, or if they feel like it's scammy, or if they feel like you're being a little bit too silly or whatever, they're just gonna, nope.
Yep, 100%. And then make sure that you are posting highlights. So when you post something to a story, or when you create a story, you have the option to make it a highlight. Have multiple highlights, but again, niche specific, right? So if your entire profile is, again, dogs, right? Let's say one highlight would be dog training tips. The other one would be favorite toys. The other one would be favorite treats. It'd all be something related to that niche. So I see it a lot where people, like, affiliate marketing is their main theme, but then their highlights are like lifestyle, but not actually lifestyle associated with affiliate marketing, just like random videos of them like cooking at home and stuff. And then, maybe favorite tech, which is good, but is also really hard to get out in a short reel. And then like my family. And it's like, while yes, it's fine to mix like your family stuff with your business stuff, maybe make sure it's at least jiving 100% with the message, right? So I'm an affiliate marketer, so I have time to spend with my family, makes sense. But just having a highlight that's my family doesn't really.
Yep. And it's whether it's your family or your pets or your hobbies, right? It doesn't really matter. You have to always, if you're going to be using your Instagram as a business account, you need to be making sure that everything is relating back to your niche. Your highlights, your stories, your reels, your carousels, everything has to relate back to what it is you're doing, what you're trying to promote. Now, you can absolutely have a family post or a silly post or whatever. Just make sure that it relates back. If your hobbies, then it's relating back to how you can do your hobbies. Or even just like I did a post the other day on climbing a mountain, because I climbed a mountain. And I related it all back to, the mindset of a business mindset, because they are the same. Mindset is mindset no matter what. So just making sure that you're relating it back and making sure that it all falls within your niche. Because otherwise, it's like standing in the cereal aisle. You can look at 1,000, you just stand there and stare because you're like, oh my God, there's so much here. I don't know what I want. And then you just walk away because you're annoyed.
Right. All right. And then with your profile as well, reels that you've posted, you want to make sure that it has some sort of text, or is that a part of the video that's really eye-catching that makes people go like, what the heck is going on? Or that they go, oh, that sounds interesting. Let me click on that. Because again, the algorithm is going to reward people who bring people in and keep them on the platform. So you want your stuff to be eye-catching. Again, that thumbnail is like your YouTube thumbnail, right? It's your chance for a cold open. So make sure that it's really good. And then again, keep those niche specific and make sure that your posts, your carousels, your reels, all are niche specific, with maybe, like you said, one or two random like funny or family ones thrown in, but still relate it back within the description or something.
Yeah, that's what your captions are for, to help you pull it back in, even if it's not necessarily obvious from the video specifically. Your captions are going to be very important.
Exactly. And then again with those SEO, right? So we see it all the time, at least we used to, where like the call to action was, click the link in the bio. And that's problematic now because thanks to scammers, phishers, etc., bad marketers, a lot of people, when they click the link in the bio, there's going to be a warning that comes up that says, hey, this is taking you out of Instagram. Is that okay? Which in itself is fine. But what's happening is people aren't reading that. So they're clicking it, they get that warning, and then they just say no because they're freaked out. So, call to action being click the link in the bio, not good. Avoid that one, just like you should avoid SEO keyword stuffing because those will hurt you.
Your call to actions, especially on Instagram, should be a lot more like follow for more, or follow me, or comment to learn more, or any of those kinds of things, because you're trying to increase engagement. Or, if you're trying to get them to answer questions or things like that, like with your stories, you can do polls and questions and stuff like that. So it's a lot more about building that engagement so that you can talk to people.
Yeah, exactly. And then once you talk to them, you can make sure they're a good fit. And then you can go decide whether or not sharing what you offer is worth it or not. And, I think that's something that we forget often, is not everyone is our client. Not everyone is going to fit with what we want. So,
and maybe it reminds me of Miracle of. Have you ever watched that old Christmas movie, Miracle on 34th Street? Okay, where he starts sending people to other stores because the store that he's playing Santa for doesn't have it. Well, it's the same thing with your business. There is nothing wrong with sending somebody to somebody else if they aren't the right fit for you. Because not only does that show them that you're serious about helping them, it will stick in their mind. And then when somebody does need something and they come to them and they go, you know what? This person actually does that. And they were awesome. They heard what I had to say and they sent me to this other person. And so you're cementing yourself in their mind as somebody who's helpful, and you're being helpful. Because you don't, just because you don't have it doesn't mean that you can't tell them where they can find it.
Yeah. Well, and so often it seems like marketers think we're in competition with everybody else, and we're not. There's nothing wrong with exactly what you're saying, like networking, sharing, just like you would in any other business. And then posting, right? So 2 years ago, Reels was the hot theme that was going to bring you people. Last year, it was carousels. Carousels were keeping people's attention more and driving up the engagement because it was longer time they were spending swiping through. Yeah. Stories, when those came out, utilizing stories was huge for people. And now I believe you can do carousels within your stories, which is awesome. Oh. So what works on Instagram is constantly changing. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just keeping abreast of the information, right? So I believe for 2024, they were saying carousels and stories were what was going to continue to help drive engagement. But the utilization of the poll feature is going to be huge. And using the new features as they come out is definitely going to help you
Oh,
because Instagram's going to see
absolutely.
that.
Absolutely. Just like any platform, when you utilize their new tools, they like you better. Yeah, like, ooh, they're using our stuff, right? Versus not. And so it's always beneficial to you to try and utilize any of the new tools that come out. There are plenty of people out there, especially on Instagram, who are doing their best to stay ahead of the trends and give you information. So by all means, go and search those people out. It
Yes.
doesn't hurt because they're going to help you figure out, and you'll find ones that work for you and ones that don't. Because it, like any kind of thing where you are dealing with algorithms or when you're just dealing with people in general, you need to test, implement, test until you find what works for you. And then also be willing to change and pivot because things change all the time.
Yeah, I personally follow Brock Johnson. He's been on Instagram pretty much since it started. His predictions are usually right on, and he's funny. He posts some really funny stuff. So I particularly like him. If you're looking for somebody to go check him out 100%. I recommend him to everybody. I wouldn't say he's infallible, but he at least, he has a whole team that helps keep him updated on trends. So
And that's
and
nice.
then
Doing the work for you.
And then, so often we post stuff that like we find funny because I do it all the time, which is fine. But remember, again, if you're building a business, your post should be tailored toward your ideal person that you're trying to help, not like, oh, my mom would like this, right? Which isn't to say that
your mom is your business,
Yeah, exactly. It's not to say they can't cross over. But maybe your mom doesn't know about the struggles that you went through. And don't be afraid to tell those stories. And I think that's where, again, authenticity, which we talked about before, comes into play, because there's nothing wrong with being a little bit vulnerable if it's something that you overcame that then helped your business. There's nothing wrong with sharing that story. Yeah, it makes you, more human perhaps, but that's a good thing. It's okay.
One of the things that I have learned recently was that because they tell you, tell your story, tell your story, tell your story. And it's a big push to tell your story. But when you're first starting out, what you're going to try to do maybe, because you're just trying to draw people who are going to watch you, right? Why are they going to watch you just because? So you're a mom, you're a single mom, and you're trying a new business. Well, there's tons of people that do that. So what are you bringing that they don't have? So maybe what they said was give information, give value, give the things that you're learning, and weave your story into that. Don't make it your header, your headline. Make it part of what you're providing. And then that way you are still giving your story. You're still relating to your audience, but you're also giving them a reason to be there in the first place. And I thought that makes a lot more sense because I find that whole info dump thing isn't necessarily right for everybody. Yeah. For some people, that will draw them in 100%. For some people, they have no problem being able to provide that kind of thing. I'm definitely not that person. And so that whole tell your whole story. And I'm like, but being able to weave it in also allows you to use that story over a longer series of reels and posts, because if you give everything away all at once, then it feels like you have nothing left to give.
But don't be afraid to repeat yourself, right?
Well, true, that too.
Because, we're very short attention span people nowadays. We forget stuff, right? And it's funny because I've had multiple people that are like, every time I open Instagram, you're on there. And it's because they follow all 4 of my accounts. And I'm like, well, I do have a lot of accounts. I do post a lot. But I'm like, yeah, because I need to drill it into people's heads that Ice Wellness can help you with motivation and meditation and workouts. What I do with affiliate marketing can help set you free. Like what I do with my dogs is just fun for the most part. But I have no problem drilling it into people's heads. I posted something on Facebook the other day and I said, I'm going to share this until you're sick of it. And then I'm going to keep sharing it. Because I think the last statistic said 1 out of 10 of your followers will see a post. So it takes 10 posts for this one person to see your post again. And on average, don't look at it as, oh my God, I'm repeating myself. Look at it as not everyone has seen my message, because that's
And the
the
ones
truth
who
of
are
what's
seeing it
happening.
regularly, they've already trained the algorithm that they clearly want to see your stuff. So they're just going to show them everything, right?
Yeah,
That you do.
exactly.
And that's awesome. You get to be in the front row.
And
But
if
this
they
is for
don't,
the
they can
people in
unfollow or they can mute you. Like, there's options
the,
there.
this is for the people in the back of the room. So
Exactly. Great way if you're just getting started. Collabs, I love these. You can do multiple collabs now too, which is nice. Like you and I tested it. I think I tagged like you, Brian, Whitney. I tagged a lot of people, or didn't tag but invited as a collaborator. Collabs are a great way to showcase that you're working with someone else, or in our case, showcase your team. That you do the coaching sessions with. Collabs are just a really, really good way to get you in front of more people, because, you know, Donna and I might have the same people who think we're awesome, but they're maybe not finding me because they're only following Donna, like people within that, you know, geographic
exactly.
location or whatever, and vice versa. So collabs are awesome.
Yeah. And don't be afraid. I mean, and if you are really concerned about tagging somebody as a collaborator, they can refuse, right? So if you're like, I want to put this person as, and they go, no, that's okay. And you can always ask first. But if you don't want to ask first, or if you're just excited and want to jump right into it, go ahead. And the worst they can do is say no. Saying no is not that big of a deal. People say no all the time. We just have to get comfortable with the idea that no doesn't mean anything other than no.
And you know,
Sometimes
sometimes it's not a bad thing.
sometimes it's a good thing.
I did a post one day. I don't remember what it was for, but I know I tagged Buff Bunny, I tagged Kara Corey, and then I tagged Jason Corey. And I was like, oh, I don't know how they're going to react to this. I hope it's good. And then they never commented, but I saw like both Jason and Kara liked it. And so I was like, okay, cool. Because I said, you know, if you like dog content, follow him. If you like fitness content, follow her. I think it was just kind of like a shout out post kind of thing.
Yeah.
And, you know, did it help grow my followers? Not really, but I absolutely adore those two. And like, I drive people to them all the time because their stuff is awesome. So it was just kind of one of those like, oh, so you never know. Like the person you tag might end up really liking your stuff.
It happens all the time. So
Buff Bunny actually, I think they messaged me and was like, hey, can we use this on our next launch? So somewhere on the Buff Bunny page, I'm one of the highlights.
You're right.
Okay, this next one that we want to talk about is a little bit controversial because there's a lot of data that goes back and forth, but timing. So we always talk about timing on Instagram. I personally don't utilize timing. I pretty much post whenever. But one thing I will say is if you're scheduling it, don't schedule it on increment of 5 or 10. Make it something weird. Make it like 317 or, you know, 324 or like something like that. Because most people who are scheduling are going to follow that 5-minute increment. So you want to be posting between them. Yeah, there's a lot of different people out there who say different timings.
You can watch your engagement. Even with me for TikTok, I know that if I post at some ungodly hour in the morning, Eastern time, I'll get a small bump because it's just being pushed out to the people that are, and then it'll go down. And then usually probably around 9 or 10, I get another up. And then it goes down, and then it goes back up again at around 3 o'clock my time.
Nice.
It's just the way that it goes, right? So if I hit it between those times, then I'm going to see the initial little spurt that always happens because they're just pushing it out there. But then when I actually get that bump again is the timing.
Nice. Yeah. And that's where analytics come in handy more than anything, right? And that's why I say, yes, there are people who are putting information out there, but that's for them and their audience. So it's so much more important to utilize your own analytics, look at where your people are active and go from there.
Exactly. Because if you're trying to reach stay-at-home dads, then maybe their peak time is nap time, which is, you know, maybe that's at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. If you're trying to reach execs, maybe their peak time is 7 p.m. because that's when they're finally home from work or just finishing up their day and they have a few moments to just sort of mess around and look at stuff. So it's going to really depend on your audience when those peak times are. So pay attention to your analytics because those are going to give you some very important information.
UGC, user generated content, is another great way. Again, like I said, Buff Bunny reached out after a post I did. It was not a paid promotion or anything. It was just a post I did because I liked, again, Kara Corey, and then did a collab, and I was really doing it to plug Kara Corey. But Buff Bunny reached out, and then I've shown up on the Bones Coffee page as well because I love my Bones Coffee, and I'm an affiliate of theirs. So I've done a few videos, and they've reached out. So user generated content, even if it's not a paid promotion, can still help boost your page because they might see it, they might like it, they'll feature it on theirs, and then you get more eyes on your profile. Going live, of course, is always beneficial.
I've never gone live on Instagram, so I honestly don't have any information for that. I don't know how it works. I don't know if there's rules on how many followers you have to have in order to be able to do that or any of that stuff. So
no. I love going live on Instagram. You can invite other people into your live. So when I did my January ice bath challenge, I was inviting the guy who was doing it with me. And so the screen was split so you can see both of us. And then you can actually post it as a series rather than just a normal reel. The only problem is I don't know where you find the series because I didn't ever go back and check. But so we had a whole series called Advice from the Ice, where those would get posted to so people could go watch those. Now, lives in general, right? You might get some creepers, you might get some haters, you might get some trolls. It happens. The main thing is don't get too bogged down by the comments. A lot of people go live just getting ready for the day, right? So again, Kara Corey's a good one. She'll go live talking about an upcoming launch or something while she's doing her makeup for the day. So don't overthink the lives. Sometimes I go live just sitting on my ice bath because it's a convenient spot that's not in the house, and usually it helps keep the dogs quiet.
just
so
bring you
going live is
sticks.
great. Say what? Sorry.
I said they just bring you sticks.
They do, yeah. They get very loud when I'm in the ice bath, so it's kind of funny. But again, if you're camera shy, going live can actually really help you get over that because, again,
Absolutely.
you can't overthink it.
That worked actually really well for me. I was very much I'm not comfortable with the whole reels thing, and I overthought it 1000%. And then I did a live video challenge with Claire. I can't remember the name of it at the time, but it was basically just a week of lives, and it helped tremendously to really get over my brain getting in the way of just something so basic.
And you did awesome. I remember that challenge. It was fantastic. I was so happy to see you thriving. But the nice thing about those too is you can then download them after the fact, and then you can cut it into reels, YouTube shorts, stuff like that. Or even if there's like a really funny, I've seen this a lot with like my ice stuff when I collaborate with Cold as Ice Baths. Like he's very outgoing and he's kind of a character when he's feeling it. So like there are some great still shots I have of him getting in the ice, just like, which he does the ice baths daily, but he just, again, he's very dramatic and a showman, right? And so like I've got some great shots of him that are just hysterical that then I can cut into funny posts. So there's so much you can do with repurposing and reutilizing that content.
Yeah. And that goes for every platform, but yeah, IG as well.
Yeah, I mean, we repurpose this, right? We go live on Facebook, then we download it, and we put it up on YouTube. So
exactly, and we cut it up, and we use some of those for shorts all over the place. So there you go.
Exactly. And then, of course, SEO. So yes, hashtags are still important, but they are not the big deal they were 2 or 3 years ago. SEO is far more important. And then the one that I am really bad at, engage after you post. Don't just post and disappear.
Yeah. So now the engagement thing, it's good to do some engagement prior to posting. Is going to put you in front of more people if you engage beforehand. And then again, engaging afterwards, after you post, is just going to pull more people in. You can split it up, or you can do A or B. We figure out which one works best for you. Again, follow your analytics. For the hashtag thing, if you're a newer account, the hashtags may be more helpful simply because people are clicking them to find stuff. And so if you're newer, that hashtag situation may actually work more in your favor. Whereas once you're more established, it's just more for convenience than anything else.
Renee says, I have 2 different content ideas. I should set up separate accounts for them then. Well, it depends. Do those 2 ideas at all feed into each other, or are they completely different?
Yeah, are they very separate ideas?
Yeah.
Yeah, if they are completely different, separate ideas, Renee, you'll want to set up two separate accounts. Okay,
Yeah.
so like if one is woodworking and one is music, then definitely, yeah, two very different, just set up two accounts. But if they can be combined or if they do feed off of each other, then yeah, you can combine it.
Yeah. Or sometimes you can have posts that cover both, right? So, like on my affiliate marketing one, I do have posts with my dogs because I do, to some extent, target dog parents who want to retire and just spend all day with their dog.
And you can
But
link them to each other.
yeah, but that is a very different audience from my Schutzen and working dog people and dog sport people, right? So the everyday pet parent doesn't typically understand Schutzen, so doesn't understand the training that we do. So I'm not gonna mix the two in that sense. So
it's like
they
me.
can cross over, but
yeah, I have a publishing account and then I have my marketing account. Now, occasionally I make, I talk about one here or I talk about the other there, but I don't do my marketing on my publishing one. Because that's all horror people, people who write horror and publishers and artists and that sort of thing. And then my marketing one, that's probably not the same crowd. In fact, 99% sure that's not the same crowd. And what they're interested in is not going to have anything to do with that. So I do keep them separate in that area, in that way. Hope that answered your question in a very verbose way.
Real quick, circling back to the hashtag conversation, you want to have about 30 hashtags that are specific to what you're talking about, but you don't want to use them, all of them, every time, every post, because it's going to get really confusing. You want to go ahead and switch those up. Maybe you have one core one that you always want to use, but the rest should at least rotate so that it doesn't look like you're just copy pasting the same thing over and over and over again.
When you're doing your hashtags, some are going to be a little bit more general. Some of them are going to be a bit more niche down. And I mean, even if you're only going to do 3, do one general, one niche down, and one that's, more post specific. And then however you're going to do that, sort of keep that even in terms of how you're doing that. So you've got a couple of this, couple of that, couple of the next.
And make sure your hashtags fit your description because Instagram will see if your keywords and your hashtags mesh. If they don't, they're likely not going to push your stuff. So don't just throw trending hashtags in there because they're trending. Make sure that it does fit what you're saying. Because again, Instagram's looking far more at keywords and SEO than they are at hashtags now.
Yeah. And so they're just looking at it to make sure that you're not stuffing it. And so, yeah, the hashtags are useful because, like I said, especially in the beginning, because people do go to the hashtags and look for content under this specific thing. So that is why it's there. But it's not so much for the algorithm to find you. It's more for individual people to find you.
And that goes for YouTube as well, or any of them, really. So, all right, as we wrap it up, guys, as Donna mentioned in the beginning, we do have a really cool Instagram-specific course that we like. If you are interested in that, if you're watching this on the YouTube, it'll probably go ahead and put it in the description. But if you are interested in it and you're watching this on Facebook, reach out to Donna, reach out to myself, and we can talk it over, see if it's a good fit for you, and then potentially get you signed up.
Absolutely. So this course is very specific. It's about helping you build out your Instagram quickly and properly. It's an excellent price. It's not too expensive. And you get so much support all the way through. And obviously, either Rose or I will be there also to help you and answer any questions and get you directed into the right place. So, yeah, reach out to us. And one of us will be able to help you in that process.
If we can't, we'll direct you to someone who can.
Absolutely. All right. Yes. So as always, if you have any questions, any comments, anything you'd like us to talk about in the future, please drop a comment and let us know. If you're watching this on replay, just drop a replay and so that we know who's been by. And we'll see you next week. What are we talking about next week? Setting SMART goals for your marketing efforts. Yep. So SMART goals are a wonderful thing to have. You see them in business all the time. Lots of brick and mortars use them, but they're great for every kind of business. They're great for your own personal life. So next week, we will be discussing setting SMART goals for your marketing efforts. All right. Until then, Have a great Friday.
Bye, guys.
Bye.